Welcome to this week's episode of the Tattoo Marketing Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to talk about friction in the consultation process and how to remove it. And so what do we mean by friction? It means adding way more steps than are necessary when somebody wants to get a consultation from your shop, and how that leads to a massively reduced amount of people actually following through and showing up at the shop for that consultation. Enjoy. Hey, really quick before we get into the podcast, if you could do us a giant favor and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening to this on. It's absolutely huge for us and also helps other artists and shop owners find this podcast. We really appreciate it. Enjoy. All right, so we just got back from the Evergreen yesterday. What a convention. Absolutely amazing. It was a great time. Really, really good people. Some of the most humble and inviting artists I've ever met. So, ton of fun. Shout out to the Evergreen. Thanks for having me. Hopefully we can do it again next year. But I wanted to come on here and change things up a little bit. We had an episode planned for this week, but I wanted to record this real quick while I'm driving for an issue we're seeing more and more of, which is causing tattoo shops to lose out on a lot of potential clients, a lot of potential money. And that is by adding so much friction between somebody being interested in contacting your shop and getting them into the shop. It's nuts, and it pushes people away. And so what do I mean by friction? So you want your consultation request machine to be a well-oiled, smooth process that only takes a couple of steps. What we see is a lot of tattoo shops, when somebody reaches out to get a consultation, they're either one, replying back and forth by email. And let me tell you, email is fine. It's not fine. But it's not as big of a deal if you're emailing back and forth with somebody who came to you from word of mouth, who is a past client, something like that, because they already know, like, and trust your shop. Now, somebody coming from ads, it is terrible. I mean, again, we have a ton of data. We see all the numbers. We're a very analytical company. And if somebody comes from an advertisement and you are trying to set up a consultation or get information from them via email, the process actually happens less than 9% of the time. 9% of the time coming from ads trying to communicate with these people through an email. That's because they don't know, like, and trust your company. You're putting so much friction in there. Something that could be a 5-minute phone call or maybe an hour of texting back and forth, if you guys are spending, there's a little bit of time in between texts, turns into this thing that drags on for over a week because the artists don't check their email regularly. People, like, outside of a work environment, nobody over 45 uses email to communicate. And I'll say a lot of times we see shops using email to communicate. The owner is usually older. But nobody does that. Like, if you look at my personal email account, I have 48,000 and change unread emails. A lot of it's spam. I've had it for a long time. But my mom has sent me emails, and I don't get those. She'll text me and say, "Did you get my email?" Like, no, I didn't. I don't check my personal email, because nobody checks their personal email. You're adding so much friction to getting somebody in your shop, and you're making this process that should take, again, 5 minutes to an hour into this week-long back and forth where people are getting frustrated, and they'll almost always go to a different shop. And not only will they go to a different shop, but they'll have a bad taste in their mouth about your shop. And when anybody brings you up, like, "Hey, I heard about ABC Tattoo. I was thinking about trying them out," they're going to say no. Word of mouth is awesome, but it goes both ways. If somebody has a bad experience with your shop at any part, through the consultation, through the tattoo, with the artist, that's a negative review walking around, which is, I would argue, more harmful than a good review when somebody's trying to get people into your shop and has had a good experience. So that was the first topic, is if you are using email to communicate with people after they fill out an ad, stop. I know it might change your system a little bit. It might change things how you do. but I guarantee you the amount of money you are wasting and the amount of potential clients that have already, the hardest part is to get somebody to contact your shop. That's the hardest part. So after that, you should be you should be able to get in contact with at least 80% of the people, as long as you're reaching out to them very soon. And you should get 50 to 60% of people to schedule a consultation with you. If you are using email and you're running paid ads, I guarantee you it's less than 10%. So that's my first thing. Stop using email to communicate. It's outside of a business use, email is dead to anybody under 45. There's no point. It just takes too long. It's literally a text message that goes to a computer, so nobody uses it. So stop doing that. The second thing that I wanted to talk about when we're talking about making a smooth problem with less friction, and again, you're going to have a little more leeway with people that come in organically, but you're still going to have a drop-off, and you're going to have a way bigger drop-off when you have people coming from paid ads, is adding so many fucking steps to get a consultation that it's absolutely nuts. Like if you have somebody message you or fill out a form saying, hey, I want to come in to get a consultation, when can I come? And you're like, oh, well, you need to go to Instagram, you need to pick out an artist, you need to message that artist. That person isn't going to do it. Humans are lazy creatures. It's how it is. And especially when they're already coming to you, asking you, hey, I want to work with your shop, and you're telling them they have to do all these additional things. Like, unless you're an artist that is extremely booked out and you don't need more clients, then it's totally fine. But we see this all the time. And it's something that we're going to have to start addressing a little bit more with some of the shops we're working with. But just adding so many steps for someone just to get in your damn shop and get a consultation. The only thing that should be happening when somebody calls your shop or fills out a form is one step at most, and that's getting them in your door. After you get them in your door, you can go through the artist, stuff like that. Like once they're in your shop, as you guys know, it's very easy to close somebody. The hardest part is getting them into the shop. So stop, for the love of God, making it so difficult for everybody. I just missed my turn. Shit. So stop making it so difficult. There shouldn't be multiple steps. There should be one step. Your consultation request form should have enough information on it that you know which artist it should go to. And if you have multiple artists that do the same style, just do a round robin. Third thing is, if you are doing paid ads and your artists are on percentage, don't expect the artist, when you hand them a consultation request, to be good about following up with it. I don't know what it is. And there's some artists that are great about it. They know how to hustle. They are willing to, they want to stay booked. They're hungry. But a lot of the time, especially with younger artists and apprentices, we see if they are given somebody, they take multiple days to reach out to them. And by that time, that person has already gone to another shop. I know it's their responsibility. That is definitely the mentality at some shops. And if they're on booth rent, who cares? You're going to get paid the same amount either way. But if they are on a percentage and you are paying for advertising and they are just letting these consultation requests wait and essentially go into a dumpster, and these people are already gone to another shop that actually reached out to them or picked up the phone, you're one, wasting your money on the advertising side, and two, you're getting screwed on the artist side because they're paying you a percentage. You should have got a percentage of that too, but they didn't reach out to them. So those are a couple of the things. Again, kind of quick podcast, but it's becoming such a big issue. How you handle your consultation request, how you handle when somebody calls your shop should be the same every single time. There should be an SOP, a standard operating procedure, a set of guidelines that is handled the same every single time, whether it's the front desk person shoots them a text or the owner shoots them a text, or if you are, like, we set up a lot of automations. We're using an AI booking bot that is absolutely amazing. If you heard me talking about it, it's been a game changer for the shops we've added it to. It's essentially a front desk person that will reach out to whoever fills out a form within a minute and book them for a consultation. And the cool part, since it uses ChatGPT 4 Turbo, is it sounds exactly like a human. And it goes off of what they say. It's not like some pre-programmed responses. It will actually analyze what they said and then reply to it, and it will book consultations with them looking at a calendar and booking them. So it's a game changer, because this thing will reach out within a minute, as long as it's within, we're not going to have it work at 3 a.m, obviously, because then they would know it's a bot. But it will reach out within 1 minute. It's always friendly. It always builds rapport, which is another issue we see, is people reaching out. It's just the entire conversation is like they send a text, somebody that doesn't already know their shop, like they came in from an ad, like, when do you want to come in for a consultation? That's all they send. This bot will actually reach out, talk to them, ask them about their tattoo idea, tell them it's a cool idea. For the most part, I mean, it in a variations of different ways. It's not like it just says, hey, that's a cool idea. But it will take what they said. For example, we had somebody that had a bunch of little bangers on their arm, and they just wanted to get it made into a sleeve, and his big thing was he wanted it to flow. So the rest of the conversation, the AI bot referenced that at certain times. Like, yeah, totally, the sleeve is all about a flow. We can get one designed for you. When would you want to come in, weekday or weekend? And again, it just builds that rapport, and it's always friendly. You might be having an off day. Your front desk person might be having an off day. But this has been a massive game changer for the shops we've implemented it with. And if you're interested or you have any questions about it, just hit us up and we can chat about it. What is this person doing? But again, making sure people coming into your shop that are requesting a consultation are handled the same every time they come in. There should be a procedure. There should be a timeline on how quick they're coming in. There should be a system you're using, some kind of CRM, which is a client management system, showing where everybody is. Like when we work with a shop, when we have that bot going, so we can see on our end, we have columns. So when somebody requests the consultation, it goes into a certain, we'll say, folder. When they have actually spoke with the bot, it'll go into a different folder, and when they've booked, it's gone into a third folder. So that way you know where everybody's at in the system or in the process of coming into your shop. And it's extremely helpful, because without knowing the actual numbers, without actually seeing how many people are dropping off with your current system, you don't know how well it's working. And there's a million ways to make this automated, so you don't even have to touch it, which is awesome. But yeah, the entire point I wanted to, again, talk about is stop adding so much friction. Stop making it difficult for people to book consultations with you. That's one thing I've noticed with all the bigger shops we work with all the ones that have been really successful. I mean, we work with shops that have been around for 3 years and have 17 artists. And the thing they do better than anybody else is they make this, it's extremely easy for somebody to come in and get tattooed. They're not trying to do all these crazy things and send them to different places and making them make all these choices before they even come in. And yeah, go figure it out yourself and get back to us when you know what you want. Stuff like that, like telling them to go find whatever artist on Instagram. They answer their phone, which is, should be a no-brainer, but you'd be amazed how many shops don't answer their phone. And how long it takes people to get back to them. So again, just look at your process. Like actually sit down, look at it, build out an SOP for it. And it doesn't have to be anything complicated. Just be like, okay, when somebody requests a consultation, when the form comes in, and when the form comes in, we suggest having it text to the shop, not emailed. You'll get it a lot faster. What happens? What is the next step? How long should the next step take? For example, when somebody fills out a form and it gets texted to the shop, if the shop is open, our front desk person should reach out within 5 minutes, and this is what they should say. If you don't know what to say, shoot us a message. We have our bot. The first reach out is always the same. It always will say the first thing until the person responds. So and it works really well. And again, it's just getting them engaged in the conversation versus being off-putting and telling them, when do you want to come in for a consultation? So anyway, if you have any questions, let us know. But again, this is if you're doing any kind of paid ads, even if you're doing organic stuff, if you keep the system you're doing right now, and what I'm talking about sounds like something you do or your shop does, set up some kind of CRM, some kind of tracking system. It can be a pencil and paper. It can be a whiteboard with a column, requested consultation, spoke with person came in for a consultation. And as long as people are honest about what's going on and putting it on the board, you'll see the insane amount of drop-off and how much money the shop is losing, the artists are losing, you're losing, especially if you're doing that percentage. Yeah. Hopefully this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions.